Hey, thank you for joining me at Go Beyond Betty. Today, I'm so excited. So, I love cooking nights, but this is my most exciting episode yet because I fancy myself a pretty good cook, right? So I make good stuff, but I rarely can find something or figure something out that just blows my mind. And this blew my mind, and I get to share with you. So I'm going to take something out of the freezer today, something that we made in the past for our big batch days from the freezer, and I'm going to cook it in 15 minutes. Right? Awesome, right? I am going to show you two different methods for doing it. The first one is with the Instapot, the knockoff version, and the second is just in a regular Dutch oven style thing on the stove. I will say they did cook in about the same amount of time. I prefer the Instapot, and I'll show you the difference. You can kind of see, not that I did anything differently per se, but they turn out a little bit differently. So you'll have to watch the end to figure out which one you might prefer. So let's get started. All right, it is cooking, not cooking night. This is the night where you forgot to thaw stuff, you didn't plan right, and we're gonna have dinner on the table in 15 minutes. So we gotta reach into the freezer, into the pantry, into the fridge, whatever we need. We're gonna get dinner ready in 15 minutes. Ideally you have an Instapot. I will do a second version of this without the Instapot. So I have it on my hottest setting. Mine anyways is chicken meat. I have the knockoff brand, so I don't know what it says on the real Instant Pot. By the way, I always say Instapot, not Instant Pot. I'm gonna put a lot of olive oil in here. Doesn't matter what kind of olive oil. You wouldn't normally need this much, but I actually want to use a good amount of olive oil in a marinara, so that's why I've put extra in there. I've gotten out my Braciole from the freezer. I froze them individually. I'm gonna just keep it seam side down. I just need them to fit in here. So our meat's gonna be in there. Ideally with Braciole, it's slowly cooked, it's browned. We gotta eat, okay? We need to feed a family, and that's what we're gonna do. Get a big can of tomatoes. We're just gonna make a fast marinara inside of this. This is, what is it? Peeled tomatoes. I'm gonna show you what we're gonna probably have to do with this one because I didn't have a crushed or anything. We're gonna pour this in. I'm gonna catch any of the whole tomatoes that come out, and I'm just gonna squeeze them with my hand. So any of the sauce can fall, any of those whole tomatoes, squeeze them as low as you can because they will just completely splatter on top of you. So anything that is not beautiful and perfect, I like to call it rustic. All of the bread that I make, I call it a rustic sourdough. Baguettes especially, I do a very rustic sourdough baguette. So I'm almost done with this. It's amazing how many tomatoes fit inside a 28-ounce can. I've lost count. If you like a sauce that's a lot soupier, then add a tomato sauce or crush more or add more. But then let me wash my hands. All right, the next thing I want to add in there is some garlic. And there's stuff at the grocery store. This is something I bought at the international market. It's just a garlic puree. I think it's a notch above your standard weird chopped stuff in a can. But let me show you something else I do, and I use this all the time. Because again, it's cooking, not cooking. I don't want to cut, chop, nada. So I like these. This is from Pampered Chef. And I guarantee you have a friend that sells this stuff. You can put it in with the peel. Amazing, right? Just stick it in there. Squeeze it. Again, get it in there so that it all gets in there. And look at all that fresh garlic. Take it out. Amazing. It actually never looks that nice, so that was great. Let's see if this one comes out just as well. I'm just using 2 to 3 cloves. I don't want it crazy garlicky. Make sure you scrape it though, because otherwise, and we'll clean that in a minute. I want to do just a little bit of salt. I don't personally like any sugar in my pasta sauce. If you want it a little bit sweeter, go for it. Outside, I have lots of fresh herbs. If you don't have fresh herbs, throw in something dried. You want it to have kind of that air of Italianness. So this is just fresh oregano. I have thyme. And if you would prefer, leave it on the stem. Who cares? I don't know. Anything that falls off naturally is gonna soften enough to eat. This is woodsy enough that it's easy to take out. Last thing I have, and see, look how fast this is cooking. This has been like a minute. So there's some rosemary. Also, obviously, you could just use a whole jar of sauce. My friend Vinny loves the one they sell at Costco. I think it's Rouse, R-A-O-S, something like that. I also have some basil. I'm not going to use all the basil because I really prefer fresh basil on top of my pasta. So I'm just going to throw in a little bit of it. And that's it. Okay, so we need to get this lid on because the timer is waiting. We're going 15 minutes. Make sure that it is locked. And so as soon as it comes to temperature, it will start the timer. Next step, meanwhile, so this is going to take 15 minutes, maybe another 2 minutes to get going. Now we need some pasta. So I've already shown you how to do the spaghetti squash, but now we're going to do pasta. You're probably freaking out. What are you doing, lady, with a skillet and dry pasta in a pan? I'm going to show you. So I use this instant kettle all the time, probably 12 times a day, easily. It heats up water in about 3 minutes, 4 minutes. So I'm filling it up with boiling water. Forget, you want to heavily salt your water. And then after it's in contact with the water, you want to make sure that everybody is free and moving around. I'm going to maybe cook this for 12-ish minutes. So both of them should be finishing roughly around the same time. All right, I checked the pasta. It ends up taking about 13 and a half minutes. Again, check it on your own. You can see that there's not a ton of water left. I used a pretty shallow pan because I didn't use a whole pound because we're not eating a whole lot of pasta. So if you're gonna use a whole pound, use just a higher skillet. Now I'm just gonna drain off 90-ish% of the water. As that last little tiny bit, again, it's off. I don't want everything sticking together, and I would love some of that super starchy water still in there. Again, if I need to, I can use that. Otherwise, you're gonna have to use olive oil, and I don't want extra oil in here. Just that little bit of extra starchy water will help keep it limber, if you will. I think we have under 5 minutes left. It took a little bit longer than I was thinking to come to temperature, maybe an extra 2 minutes. But I think 15 minutes is probably overkill. We probably would have been fine with 14, 13. Again, it depends how many you have in there, how thick the cut was. It's probably always going to be different every single time you do it because it depends on what the butcher did, what you did, how much you stuffed it, yada yada. It's really just a guess. That's why we take whisks in the kitchen. All right, the timer just went off. So in the Instant Pot, we have to release the pressure. It's super loud. So I'm going to do that and then I'll be right back with you. All right, so I'm just waiting for the pressure to release. Notice it's absorbed pretty much all of that leftover pasta water that we had, which is great. The only thing I had to do in the last like 15 minutes is shred a little bit of pecorino romano. And I did save some basil because I like that kind of torn up at the end. So I'm really just going to start plating these depending on who likes, we don't eat a lot of pasta. Spoiler alert, guess who has dessert ready tonight? Let's look in the pot. So we have our marinara. Oh yeah. So just be mindful of taking them out. Oh, that's one of those little nuggets. I might end up eating one of those. Because we put them seam side down. So you don't want all that goodness inside to come out. Tell me we'll start with that, okay? And again, try your sauce. If you like your sauce with more like, I didn't put an onion in there. You could easily have put an onion in there. A lot of kids don't like onions, so sometimes I don't do it. You could use onion powder. If you like other herbs, you can do that. Scoot all this stuff over. Again, if you had garlic toast, that would just be gorgeous on the side. All set. Dinner's done. It's probably been almost 20 minutes now, but really about 4 minutes hands-on time. So dinner is ready, everybody. All right, to my surprise, this actually cooked in about the same amount of time. I will say, because it's not in a pressure cooker that's sealed, don't mind that garlic from before that never went in there. It's very less juicy, which good or bad, I don't know. I like both ways. The other reason why I like the Instapot version is because if you're a bigger family than just the two of us, you could probably get away with doing a whole couple layers inside your Instapot, and like an extra can of tomatoes, you're just like doubling the whole batch. I don't think you could do that at all in the Dutch oven on the stove. It would take considerably longer, and I don't think you would get the same effect. I think the bottom would be cooked, the top would still be frozen. It wouldn't quite work out well. So it is that fast and that easy. I think it might be my fastest one yet, I'm not sure. But I hope that you join me on some of my big batch days and we get some of that stuff done. And again, I'm only showing you one thing each time, but typically when if I plan a Saturday as a big batch day, I'm probably doing like 3 or 4 things at the same time. Like I do start the sauce is cooking for a while, and then I can, wrap the bracioles, or I can, do a couple different things at the same time. So that is a little bit easier. And again, have some friends over. All of you get together and just have fun. Hang out for the day. Not a bad idea. Not a bad way to spend the day and then go home with a bunch of stuff. So thank you again for joining me at Go Beyond Betty, where we take whisks in the kitchen. Keep up the great work. I love seeing you here. Thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and leave me a comment. We'll see you next time. Bye. Tell me how much pasta you want. That's good.
One more.
No, that's plenty. Okay, then this is done.
Going in the B-roll, huh?
Welcome to our life. Try our second method of cooking our frozen, oh my god, individually frozen. I guess that's it.